Walmart had a pretty impressive run with their ONN 12 Tablet Pro. I actually like this one a lot. But now today we've got the UMIDIGI G7 Tab Pro that they sent out. This seems like a legitimate competitor to the ONN 12.1-inch tablet. There's a few reasons. Number one, you can get this for $175 on sale. I know it says Black Friday, but it can come down in that price again if it's come down before. And number two, the one thing that I don't like is that on the listing it mentions that it has 32 gigs of RAM or 16, but it's actually just 8 gigabytes of physical RAM. The other 8 is VRAM, so just keep that in mind. CPU is G99 processor. It's running Android, 8 gigabytes of RAM, like we said, 256 gigabytes of internal storage. There is a SIM slot, 8,000 milliamp hour battery, so that's a decent sized battery. And this does have a 1920 by 1200 display on an 11-inch tablet. In the box, we have the wall outlet here, along with a USB-C cable, USB-C to USB-C cable. I believe that's what it is. Nope, it's USB-A to USB-C cable. In the box, we have a pin to get to the micro SD card tray, as well as a SIM slot, and then the USB-C to USB-A cable, and the wall outlet right here. Here's the tablet that comes inside of a case that it's included with it, so that's kind of nice. It's like a rubberized case. I'll put that to the side for a second. It also comes with a stylus and a user guide. That's kind of nice that it has this. Here's the tablet itself. Taking this out, there is a screen protector that comes pre-installed on here, and it does cover the front camera here, which is good. Or it doesn't cover it, I mean. And then on the back here is the rear camera, as well as a flash. Here's the front camera. It seems alright for a call, Skype call or whatever. Then the rear camera is okay too. It's nothing too crazy. It's decent, I'll say. It does take quick shots, and I can pretty much read everything on here, on this box, so it does a decent job. This tablet doesn't feel too thick or heavy. It is pretty thin, I'd say. On the top, we've got the volume keys, and on the side is the power button. I kind of like how they have it in two different places, because if it's in the same place, sometimes it gets a little confusing as to which button is which. It's 4 speaker grills here, 2 on here on the left and 2 on the right, along with a USB-C port, and then this hole is for the SIM slot / micro SD card tray here. On the bottom, we do have a 3.5mm headphone jack. It's kind of in a slightly odd location all the way in the corner, but it's there nonetheless, so I can appreciate that. And then on the top, it seems like this is the microphone. Out of the box, there's not too much bloatware. It's pretty much near stock Android, the experience at least. And out of the box, there's like 237 gigs free out of 256, so there's a decent amount. And then here's more info. What's interesting is that this is still running Android 13. I thought it would have gotten updated to 14. But I guess not. The screen itself is not too bad. It's laminated. It doesn't get too bright. It's like your average Joe of a tablet around this price range, which isn't a bad thing. Incredibly good. They get so loud. So if you're close by it, So not these speakers on this tablet, but this was for another tablet video. These speakers are all right on here. They get kind of tinny, but they do get loud. It's just a little distorted as it gets louder. So videos can be played at 1080p on YouTube. But, unfortunately, this has a wideband security of L3, like shown here. Honestly, I don't know what it is with these companies, but they need to realize that this is a deal breaker. And by the way, if you're not familiar with wideband security levels, L1 lets you play videos at 1080p Full HD on Netflix and other streaming platforms. L3 will cap you at 480p, even though this has a 1080p screen. Again, that's what makes this a deal breaker, honestly, this part right here for people. Because media consumption is something I guess a lot of people factor in. I factor it in when I'm looking up tablets. You know, okay, it has a full HD screen. This is full HD plus, so that's even better. But that's just, again, it's a buzzkill, knowing that that's wideband L3 and I'm not going to be able to watch videos at full HD 1080p on Netflix. That's disappointing. The one, I guess, kind of redeeming thing is that this has a pretty decent performance so far. Actually good. Overall, no issues whatsoever. These are the Geekbench scores. Nothing crazy here. It doesn't really beat anything in the single core or multi-core scores. And then the GPU score is right here. It gets like 1274, 1273. So again, nothing crazy. Here's what's shown on CPU-Z. And the GPU is a Mali G57 MC2. First game here is RuneScape. Everything is set to the highest graphic settings except for, I guess, ground decoration was off. Let me go ahead and turn that on. Alright, so we're at the highest graphic settings from what I can tell here. And this is relatively slow. It's going to lag a little bit. Actually, not a little bit, but it lags a lot. It's pretty much not playable. I know it's showing 60 FPS, but that's because we're in the menu here. So looking around, it just drops to the low 10s. I haven't seen it go to single digits yet, but maybe it might. Still, at the max graphics, this isn't playable. But if we turn it down, it will be. So here's what I adjusted. I changed the default player models to medium. Same with removing the depth of field, smooth camera fade, textures. I think textures was the biggest one, as well as the anisotropic filtering is basically, it was set at 4 times. Now I set it to 2. Anti-aliasing is just FXAA. And then just a few other things I changed here. And now it's running a lot more smoothly. Not at 60 FPS, but we're getting the 40s and 30s. And then if I zoom out more, it just stays around the 30s. So take that how you will, but yeah, this is definitely playable. And if I change the graphics even further, it's going to get up to like the 40s and 50s pretty more consistently, even 60 at times. Next thing I wanted to try was the PS2 emulator, and it's not going as planned. I was expecting something a little more, but maybe my expectations were a little too high here, because yeah, this is not smooth whatsoever. Now, these are the VSync frame rates, so it's not really getting 22 or whatever. It's actually a bit less than that. Yeah, you see how slow this is? You can even hear it from the music when it's playing. Yeah, that's just way too slow. And I can't even play properly. So, yeah, this had a potential. Well, I'm not too... I guess I can't be too surprised with the PS2 performance. This can handle games pretty well, though, in general, because if RuneScape worked well, then I think a lot of other games will. Even Genshin Impact at the lowest graphics settings should work all right. So there's that. This tablet, I felt like, had a lot of potential, especially with the fact that, like, it had a nice screen, 8 gigabytes of RAM, a Helio G99 processor. But that's why, just because some things sound better on paper doesn't mean that's always the case, just like in this scenario. I was expecting this or hoping for this to be better than the ONN 12.1-inch Tablet Pro, but it doesn't seem like it's the case. Again, it's still a good tablet nonetheless, but for the price point, I still choose this, even over this one, unless if you really need like a case and stuff and you're on maybe a tighter budget. Maybe it's something for school, I don't know. But this can handle everything pretty well. I would probably consider this if it was cheaper, like let's say around 160 or less than 160. It seems like a better option, viable option. But at the same time, the only thing that's a buzzkill or a deal breaker is the fact that it has a wideband security of L3 for streaming platforms. Again, that's really the only thing that's the biggest buzzkill. Because even Walmart's like 11-inch Tablet Pro, I've actually got it right here, the ONN 11 Tablet Pro. This one is in rose gold. There's like 4 different colors for this one. I didn't like this as much as the 12 Pro, but this is going for $129 brand new. And you get Widevine L1. The screen resolution is not as sharp, but that Widevine L1 supersedes this. Unless if you're mainly just going to be using YouTube and not really for streaming, then yeah, this is not a bad choice. But again, there is a big price difference, as this being $129 versus this being $175, and that's the sale price. $129 is the regular price for the 11 Tablet Pro. So again, let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and stay tuned for more as we're checking out more tablets in the near future. Thanks for watching.